William Hague there. Now, Britain was the only country that didn't sign the new Fiscal Compact Treaty, which gives Brussels ultimate authority over the way that EU governments raise taxes and spend revenue.
Oliver Hartwich is an economist for the Centre for Independent Studies. He joins us now from Sydney. Oliver Hartwich, good morning.
Good morning.
Was this a wise move by Britain to opt out of this new treaty?
I think Britain's move was really unavoidable because the British government tried to renegotiate some conditions for the City of London. Nicolas Sarkozy, the French president, Angela Merkel, the German chancellor, blocked these moves and said there was no leeway to negotiate any further, no room for manoeuvre for Britain, and therefore David Cameron had little choice but to say, I don't support these measures.
Is Nick Clegg right when he says Britain therefore stands at the risk of being marginalised in Europe as a result of opting out of this new agreement?
Well, Britain certainly stands alone. That's the really surprising bit, because in previous weeks we always talked about Britain perhaps leading a coalition of the 10 non-Euro EU member states, and that would have included countries like Poland, for example, or the Czech Republic. But now it seems that after last week's summit that these other countries have now joined the Eurozone in supporting fiscal union, and Britain really stands alone at the moment. But for how long, for much longer they will stand alone, that remains to be seen, because it could well be that in the end other countries will actually reconsider their positions once they really realize what fiscal union means.
And we'll get on to the tin tacks of that in a moment, but Oliver Hartwich, you're a bit of a sceptic going up to this, in the days leading up to this summit. Has anything that you've seen over the weekend made you become a bit more optimistic about the road ahead for Europe?
No, quite the opposite actually, because I think what we have seen at the summit was exactly the kind of piecemeal engineering approach that we have seen in the past 2 years. The Europeans still haven't solved their debt crisis. What they have tried now, they have tried to basically muddle their way through it once more. Now we've got the European Financial Stability Facility, that terrible rescue fund, EFSF. But in addition, we get the European Stability Mechanism that was meant to come on board in 2013. It's now coming on board early next year. And then on top of all of that, we have further engagement of the International Monetary Fund. So they are supposed to come on board with another 200 billion euros that they first have to get from European central banks. So it's really becoming more and more complicated, but the really serious issues are not solved.
Going back to the issue of fiscal union, practically, what does that mean for the member nations?
Not much at the moment, actually, because fiscal union, I mean, you would think this is some kind of debt pooling, so joint responsibility for spending decisions, for tax decisions, and a pooling of debt. But in effect, what it really means is a new Maastricht Treaty where European governments actually commit to fiscal rules. But that's quite a different thing from fiscal union, and I think we still have to wait until March next year when they will come up with the details of that agreement, because so far this is just an in-principle agreement, but we haven't seen the details.
Lots of murkiness ahead. Oliver Hartwich, as always, thank you very much for your insights this morning.
Thank you.